I think when I start doing my alrighty, everybody. Welcome to the Black Multiverse Theory podcast. We are your hosts, Nigel and Nilo will be exploring current events through an Afro-Canadian lens. In shoutouts, we catch up with the community, creating a space for connection. In the scroll, we dive into social media for current events and celebrity news, always actual, not always factual. On the screen, we share our latest watch list, while in our ears explores the sounds shaping our world. The podcast culminates with an uplifting message called The Word, which hopes to leave you empowered. Thanks for tuning in for insightful analysis and a vibrant perspective on the Black experience in today's world.
All right. Thank you for being here. We are here. On this wonderful July evening. We are definitely making sure that we send our shout outs. So we have shout outs right now. Shout outs to Mama Zita, who should be on very shortly after I send her a text on how to get in and get on.
She was probably here earlier trying to get on. She
probably
when we're supposed to be on, but we are late.
She probably is. So we definitely want to send shout outs to Steel Heights Tigers. Steel Heights Tigers are doing their thing. My U17 team still goes undefeated, but had a draw on their last one.
Okay.
So that was interesting because I was like, how did that happen? And
you were like, that's the closest you're going to get, buddy.
Yeah, well, it's been a weird time frame for a lot of people, in the soccer field because we have a lot of rain.
Oh, yeah.
And the weather's just been upsy downsy. It's not quite summery. It's not quite springy. It's a little bit different than we're normal.
Yeah, the weather is definitely doing its best out there. It's doing the best like the rest of us, if you will. The weather is weathering.
It's weathering. My U13 team, they are doing a lot for learning the game. So the game is going well. They were down the other day. They were losing 2-0. Mm-hmm. They came back, but they still end up losing by 1, which they didn't quite make it, but they really are learning the game and really starting to understand, okay, this is what I need to do in order to stop the other team from scoring. So, and they definitely did that. So they got themselves into a great position. So shout outs to all of them. And also shout outs to all the people who support Nigel the MC when Nigel the MC is not doing regular day job stuff, but is actually MCing or singing or out in the public, and they come out to support. So shout outs to you.
You have a big fan group.
I have people who see me and come to shows and stuff like that. I had the nurse at the doctor's office said, "Hey, I've seen you before. I think I watched your show."
They say.
Yeah, that's what the kids say. So,
watch our show.
Yeah.
This show? No, 5 artists. You mean?
No, they watched the show that I performed at.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah, so they've been to either Arlo Maverick or 5 Artists One Love or any show that I've been privy to be in or on stage with. So, shout outs to you, the people who follow me. Thank you. How about yourself?
Big shout outs to my boy Dev Focus. Dev is a DJ, and he will be in town this weekend with Jamaican performing artist Jamil. So big shout out to them. If you get a chance to, that Radisson over there on the West End, Jamil will be over there with who else but Sky Star, our local legend.
Sky Star.
Who will also be performing that evening. I want to give this week I was like, yo, I know who I have to shout out, but I don't even remember. I want to give a big shout out to Black Business Edmonton, the Black Business what is it called? Trade fair is coming up
Okay.
on August 24th. That's all the way in August, you guys. So keep it, save the date, mark it on your calendars, do all the things. I have to give a big shout out to Lane Ellis Photography, because if you don't already know, a lot of the photos for Aphrodisiac World Lock Festival have dropped, and they're so amazing and so beautiful. So I just want to say a big thank you to her. And of course, the usuals. If you get a chance, Bill is going to be, Bill from Standing Bear, who we talk about all the time, is going to be at Elk Island Park these coming weekends, the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. And each weekend there'll be a different teaching, and he will pretty much be there sharing teachings with people. So it's a great thing, especially now in the summer. You might be looking for things to get your kids out to. It's a great thing to like get out there and learn the lessons of the people of this very land. And of course, to the rest of my family, big shout out to Uncle Mario, big shout out to Marilyn, and yeah, the rest of my family. That's all I have.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right.
All right. Well, let's move it along, you guys, because somehow you are here and you are in full effect.
Yeah, we are on episode.
Oh. Scroll.
We're on the scroll. Yeah. We are here on episode 366, and we are enjoying what happens in the news as we find out different things that are happening. First of all, WestJet has gone on strike.
Yeah, many of the air mechanics there at WestJet, they were trying to make them not go on strike, I guess, without paying them more money. But they went ahead and did that, and it made a mess. There's like over 11,000 flights that either had to be canceled or rescheduled, and it's this Canada Day weekend, which is a big travel weekend for a lot of folks. I do have to say a big shout out to Tim, actually, who was just in Grenada, and Hurricane, I think it's called Bertrell or something. I don't remember. The name is Beryl Bertrell. Anyway, has ripped through the Eastern Caribbean, and he was able to get out in time, thankfully. But I can imagine it would have been even more challenging for people to get out of places like Jamaica and other places that WestJet flies to, having this strike, having all of these cancellations, and then on top of it having this giant hurricane.
Hurricane Beryl.
Yes. So barreling through the Eastern Caribbean.
Definitely.
I saw photos of Union Island, like completely mashed up and torn up. So I hope your family's doing okay there.
Yeah, St. Vincent, Union Island is mashed up.
Grenada
is mashed up. So there's a lot of places that are mash and smash.
Mash and Smash, I gotta give a big shout out to DJ Gel. If you can, check him out on Facebook. He has places where you, and I guess I can also post them. I will share them on my wall. He has different places where you can donate, especially if you may not be a fan of the Red Cross people. Them, because they be going in and taking people's stuff.
Yeah, so definitely do that. Get a hold when Nilo posts it up. If you want to donate, go ahead and donate to those people, please.
Jab, especially being what it is, I'm appreciative of the people of Grenada and the rest of the islands in the Caribbean. So,
speaking of money and donating, we're finding out that Alberta has a $4.3 billion surplus as of 2023. So what they had is a lot of money. So I think we've calculated how much of that could be shared.
We can. We only calculated 1 billion. We said everybody can definitely get 10,000. But that's 10,000 per 1 billion. So it means we can actually get about 40 grand each.
Yeah,
that would solve a lot of problems.
That would solve a lot of problems.
But I would take like 5 or even 1.
I think all small businesses should get 40.
Yeah, just straight across the board.
Just straight out, just 40 grand.
There's definitely less small businesses than people.
There
So
are.
you may as well just give it to the small
Just give it to
businesses.
small businesses.
Right, because it affects
Let's
the
fix
common
up some
economy
stuff. Let's
better.
get more stuff.
Yeah.
Let's pay off some bills. Let's
Yeah.
grab these taxes, get them out of the way.
Yeah.
All the stuff that we
Also,
can do.
I feel funny about the federal government being like, "Hey, we'll pay for diabetes supplies," and the provincial government being like, "No, thanks." And then also having billions of dollars in the
surplus,
coffers.
yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely weird for me. That whole thing feels funny. Also, the Loblaws nonsense. That whole thing feels a little bit weird.
Yep.
But I'll just put that out there.
By the way, you can get a Rob Laws t-shirt if you go online. It's a protest t-shirt, which you can get if you are inclined to
I
do so.
like my personal protest daily is calling Loblaws Bloblaws, and nobody really notices. When they say I shop at Bloblaws, they're like, yes, downtown 104. I'm like, correct. Yes. We're talking about bear mace being banned.
Right. Bear mace in the city is, for a city that doesn't have a lot of bears, we have a lot of bear mace being sold, especially to children.
Yeah.
Children who are in high school or junior high, and they are using it
on each other or what? Malls. That's where they're bear macing people all up in West End. That's how they're fighting each other. Got you.
That's how they're fighting now. They are doing that and running away. Okay. So
okay.
They have decided now to ban that. So they are looking at banning the bear mace from the peoples, from the kids.
Well, I was a child in a little town called Beaumont, which you may or may not have heard of, over there in the southern Edmonton. And in Beaumont, they used to have the last day of the year. People used to get shaving cream. Did you guys ever do this? Or is this a dazed and confused thing, that small town nonsense?
I'm sorry, you haven't finished what you said?
So then you didn't used to do it. Okay, no problem.
We've used shaving cream for a lot of things. We've slapped people. We've shaved people with it.
So on the last day of school, the kids get shaving cream, and pretty much shaving cream, the whole school does a shaving cream fight, pretty much. Oh. So there's shaving cream in your nose, in your ears, all in your hair, all down. Everybody has shaving cream. So at some point, they stopped selling shaving cream to kids so that we couldn't do that on the last day. But it was very dazed and confused, like from that whole dazed and confused. You know, dazed and confused?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we did not shaving cream. We did whipped cream. So there's a lot of whipped cream in the spray cans. And so it was edible. And so...
better.
It's way better. It's just sticky.
Sticky sugar in your nose.
Sticky sugar. But
you can
rinse off.
Bro, good. When you got that thing off, the thing is the smell?
The smell.
Bro, shaving cream in your hair, you washed it off, but you smell like shaving cream for literal days. Your bed smelled like it. It was crazy. Anyhow, no more bear mace for the kids. I'm not going to lie and pretend like I don't have bear mace here. Maybe I will. I had a client literally bring it to me and be like, yo, you need to make sure you have something in here and protect yourself. And since you're not glock, then take this bear mace and put it in your drawer. I was like, I have a knife. He's like, you're not going to stab anybody? I don't think I have the gumption to do it. So, anyway, my knife is for mangoes. I said to Nigel, and I'm going to say it to you this way, the way I said it to him, and then we'll talk about it, that the U.S. Supreme Court has gone ahead and made crime and bribes legal for politicians. They said, you know what? This bribery is illegal. We have to look at the whole system. Forget all that. Let's take this out so that, people aren't straddled with law in order to do their jobs. So they pretty much said that politicians can take gratuities as long as it's after the act has done. So as a politician, you cannot take money for passing a bill or for voting a certain way before the vote, because that would be bribery. However, if you vote a certain way, and let's say your constituents want to tip you for voting that way, a little gratuity tootie, they can do that. It's a yes. Thanks,
So
SCOTUS.
the politician can give back to somebody if they win?
They can receive gratuities from people.
After they win?
Only, not after they win, after they've done a thing.
Like what?
Like voted a certain way on a certain bill. Let's say you have a bill coming up and it's a bill of yes and no, like should Rogers Arena's tax break get extended? Right?
So basically, if I said I will give you set amount of dollars after if you vote this way. So after you voted that way, they're like, you know what? That was good.
You cannot, before they vote, say, I will give you dollars to vote this way, because that is bribery. But after they vote that way, you can say thank you with a gift or a gratuity of some kind.
Okay. It makes sense.
The law's very clear.
It makes sense. it makes a lot of sense. I feel like if a doctor goes in, saves your life,
right,
you could be like, you know what, doc?
Here's $10.
Thanks, bro. Here's a tip. $20.
Mind you, still on some resorts in the Caribbean, nice. People are still not allowed to take tips, but for some reason, your local politician can.
Go get something nice, eh?
Get something,
buy something
nice
for the kids.
You and your family.
For the kids, eh? Buy them a little something.
The other one is that they said that as long as the president acts in a presidential manner, officially, which means it has to be official paper with official seal, then they cannot be criminally prosecuted for those actions later.
Oh, okay.
So whole law criminals out here.
Yeah, so you can have certain amount of guns in your home,
you concealed. You can say maybe
stamp of approval.
Put a coup together, let's say, for example, or
and put a stamp.
It's just so wild because what's available to you now as a president is not bound by law.
I've never seen a president bound by law.
Presidents are absolutely bound by the law.
I've never seen a president
bound by the law of the land.
Bound and gagged.
Did it not bound and gagged? You're so funny. Maybe
I've never seen a president do anything, and then they arrest that president, and that president does time.
They have not done time, but they Nixon. They did have had to resign. They have that stuff has happened. They have been impeached. It's crazy. You're right. You're right, but now they wrote it into law. Precedent is one thing. It has never been done before. So for it to get done was hard. That's what people in the land were trying to do. Set the precedent to be like, bro, as a president, you can't bribe people. You can't do these crazy things. The Supreme Court was like, as long as you do it on official paperwork, you're good, and you're acting as a president, you're good to go.
That you know what that tells me, and everybody has to really take this into consideration. It tells me that war crimes under the presidential seal will no longer be criminally prosecuted in the United States.
I mean, how can you prosecute anybody's war crimes if you know what I mean? I don't know.
Under the presidential bill, if you bring somebody in, you do all manners of heinous stuff.
I mean, it's so many things. Yeah, how do you... You're right. I understand what you're saying. The Geneva Convention, for example, because it's not just the law of the land also is the one that supports international law.
Yeah.
So if you cannot no longer be held accountable, it's just, I don't know, you guys.
It's bad.
It's as bad as it seems, to be honest with you.
It's really bad.
It sounds a lot like fascism. Mr. Legrander, you can let me know if I'm wrong, but this sounds like
That's
fascism.
hilarious.
Anyway, good luck to those people. Somebody said something like, I'm glad I'm Canadian, and I'm like, buddy, do I have news for you? There was, I think we want to talk about, there was an officer involved shooting here in Edmonton.
Right.
It was a 28-year-old black male.
Okay.
Assert or Asrit.
Is his name?
No, that's the people who that is the people who investigate the police officers and the
Okay.
RCMP.
What they would call internal affairs.
Right. It's their internal.
Okay.
affairs.
So they're on the case.
So they have their and I will read you exactly because this is from the police. This is from the Edmonton Police. Assert is who it is, ASIRT. The Alberta Serious Incident Response Team is investigating an officer's involved shooting in the Fraser neighborhood on June 29th at 9:24. Some officers were dispatched because they said that there was a single vehicle collision involving an impaired driver. It was reported to the police by the witnesses that the male driver of the vehicle fled the collision scene on foot. A confrontation then took place, and the officer discharged their firearm, striking the man. So that's what Assert says. They said they're investigating, so they can't really comment anymore on it.
Yeah. It's a large thing. If you want to see footage of what went down, somebody recorded that footage and then put that footage right on YEG Wave. Mm-hmm. So if you're on Instagram, you can go on YEG Wave or YEG Wave. Mm-hmm. And you can see what happened. It's a clear case of what we've been talking about for a long time, where a person has committed a crime, but they are already there, already been stopped by the police. They don't have any weapons. Their hands are up and they are surrendering.
Both hands out.
Both hands out. And instead of using a taser, they used lethal force and ended the person's life.
And shot that person 4 times.
Yep.
They were taken to the hospital and later succumbed to their injuries. And so I think the thing that makes me feel the least safe about this, there's a couple of things. There's 3 things that I will say. One of the things that make me feel very unsafe is the amount of people. Like, I hope this part, I will make this a clip, but Edmonton, you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves with how many people who are out there, how many people who are marching, how many people blah blah blah, they're listening, they understand police accountability, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, the only thing that's under what did he do? Where's the whole story? Blah blah blah. Like, you're actually watching a video of a guy with both of his hands up and out, and his hands are up and out for moments. Like, not that he just put it up as he shot him so he didn't realize he was surrendering. No, that thing is up and out long enough that they're having conversation before he gets unfortunately shot. So seeing the people who are like, well, what did he do? I think I'm so ashamed of it, which actually will lead us into the Rick Ross thing too, because I was ashamed of that too. But in any case, yeah. The second thing is that for Black folks, specifically Black folks, not even BIPOC, that have been detained and arrested by the police is increased by 98% in the last 3 years. So that is another thing. And then the third thing is that when the people put these Black people, these Black therapists in front of you, and they're like, yeah, look, we have these Black therapists that police officers should go and talk to and do this with the community, that with the community, they're not doing that. You know what I mean? So when they're like in our community events and sponsoring our community events, but then on the back end of it, they're not actually engaging in the things that are available to them to actually reduce harm that they're doing in the black community, so much so that they've increased the harm that they're doing in the black community disproportionately. Like, have black officers in the police increased by 98% too? Like, what else is increased by 98%, you know? Anyway, that's it. That's all about that. Do you have anything to say about that?
No, not really. It's
No.
it's a sad case, I think, and I think that I said most of it where they didn't use another way to subdue. You have tasers for a reason. They're always on you. You have two things: something that can end a person's life, and something that can really detain a person and then bring them into custody and go through the justice system. Even if he was coming towards you, that taser would have dropped him in
I know
seconds.
16-year-old kids who have been tasered for
The
nothing.
other thing about the 98% of black people that have been detained since 2021, um, a lot of them are children from the ages of 12 and up. So for you parents who are out there and grandparents who are out there that have children 12 years of age and up, take into consideration that police are arresting them and putting them into the legal system.
Mm-hmm. And
Like
the adults.
here in Edmonton,
Mm-hmm.
not on the outskirts, not in some sundown town, not in some place
Correct.
where you have a high KKK presence. It's actually here in Edmonton where you think that your kids are safe walking to school. So it's very important as parents and grandparents that you are having the talk with your children.
Yeah.
And the talk is not the talk that white parents are having about sex. Yes, you have to have that talk too. But the talk that you need to have is how to survive an encounter with a police officer. And we have to do this. If you're not doing it, you have to do it. You have to get it together and figure out what you're going to say to your children and make a serious conversation. It's necessary.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Rick Ross got jumped in Toronto by
Rickety
Hell's
Ross.
Angels. Apparently, Drake has that video "Family Matters." In that video, he's wearing some like Hell's Angels merch. They were saying on some radio podcast, I think, that Drake has been trying to be a Hell's Angel for quite a while, but eventually he just sort of put them on his payroll. So when they were somebody posted the video, like one of the gang members or whatever posted the video of them beating up Rick Ross and his people or whatever, and Drake came through and liked it. So just embarrassing. I forgot Drake is a Canadian man. Like, I don't know why I forgot that. Like, I know he's Canadian, but I forgot what that means for him as a person.
What does that
And
mean
what
to
his
you?
what it means to me is that he doesn't have the same relationship with blackness, and his ability to, like, first of all, he grew up in whiteness, so he's like, I know people who are mixed race who'll be like, well, I'm technically black, but they don't really have the same relationship with it, which means that as much as he will use it to his benefit, that's his black side, and commodify it, and that's also his white side. The white part of it is the part that is going to weaponize the blackness and do stuff like use white supremacy, or like, you know,
Yeah.
use the N word as a pejorative to somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
say like, oh, you rap like you're always trying to get the slaves freed. Like, aren't we always trying to get the slaves free? Like, he just, there's a thing about being Canadian where you have to really decide that you're not going to do those things. But if you're just going with the flow, it's a great likelihood. And Drake is not super pro black by any means. Like, he definitely cosplays, and he's definitely a paid actor in that way. Like, he has sort of put on different regions of the United States. But I haven't seen him. He's been here the whole time. I haven't seen him be pro black the whole time. I couldn't tell you. You know what I mean? So IJS.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I still think it's embarrassing. Let us move it on to the screen. Okay, what you watching?
So on the screen, man, did I watch a couple things. Now, the first thing that I watched on the screen, which was actually pretty cool, was Supercell.
Okay.
Supercell is a new show on Netflix where
people
five
love it.
people get superpowers because somewhere in their line, their biology, their genealogy, there was sickle cell. And this is the body reacting to the sickle cell gene trait. And instead of causing sickness, it does the opposite and boosts something supernaturally in their body.
Yeah, so instead of sickle cell, it's supercell.
Supercell. So it's British. Be aware there is swearing. So for those of you who are watching this, who are my church brethren, and you're like, yeah, you know, and you were like, I can't watch this because there's a lot. They say, I can't watch it because they're swearing. Be aware that there's swearing in this. There's a lot of swearing.
Bad words.
If this is a thing that you're gonna have to deal with if you want to watch it. If you don't want to watch it, then don't. So this is where I let you know right off the bat. This is what's happening. So Supercell was fantastic. Great show, great premise, and it basically answers or it leaves you asking questions at the end of the series of if this wasn't done, would this been a problem? And you're dealing with a lot of aspects. You're dealing with race. You're dealing with drugs, and you're dealing with a group of people that are arming black people against themselves. And all the people who are doing that are white. So it is something that you have to look at. It is great. Shout out to Miss Jean Walrath because they do talk a lot about sickle cell in there. And Walrand, sorry, I said Walrand. So Miss Jean, you gotta watch Supercell.
But there's curse words in there. Just so you know.
Miss Jean's got it.
She's good with
She's got it. She knows when there's a lipstick on a pig. So it is what it is.
That's an old school reference. Well, I have been watching a show called Savage Beauty, not to be confused with Rihanna's fashion show. It is an African show, and it is based in South Africa, and it is lots of scandal. So essentially, it's a beauty company. I have a hard time telling you premises because I'm gonna give away a lot, and it's like one of those shows where things unveil, and all of that stuff. So yeah, take a look at it. It's an African show about a family that owns a beauty brand, a South African beauty brand, and all of the chaos and debauchery that goes along with that.
Yeah. One other thing that I watched was also the BET Awards.
The BET Awards. Did you watch them?
Yeah. I've been watching it on YouTube and like making sure that I get all the highlights and the clips and stuff like that. So our South African superstar that just came out, Tyla.
Won Best New Artist.
She performed, and it was a very provocative performance. That I think a lot of the performance was. They had a lot of performances also by Taraji. Taraji Henson actually did the opening with They Not Like Us, a parody on it, and rapped the whole thing, wrote her own raps, did the whole thing, dressed like Kendrick Lamar. and did it and was like talking about us being black people and what we're doing. So that was pretty cool.
What happened with Taraji P and Keith Lee? Did you see that?
Yes, Taraji P mistook somebody, Keith Lee, for somebody else, or somebody for Keith Lee, and
she said he wasn't in his proper seat.
And so she shouted out to him, and then he went on Twitter and was like, he wasn't very happy about it, but he made a little comment on it on there as a response.
They said he threw his rose on the ground. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
So.
And did you also see? Okay, Tyler won Best New Artist. People felt like Sexy Red should have, which is so crazy to me. But I get it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I was gonna ask you about one other thing that happened, Keith Lee.
So just to touch on that while you're thinking about that,
yeah,
you know, Tyler. I don't know how far Sexy Red's reach is. I know in America and North America, she's big. She's huge. Sexy Red is huge and very popular. However, Tyler's like internationally has hit certain levels as a new artist and has hit it on an international scale. So I think that's why she might have won, but I don't know Sexy Red's reach. So I can't say that. But based off of just that alone, I think that's why she might have won.
The international reach. Yeah. I don't know. They say Tyler's an industry plant, but they also say Sexy Red is an industry plant. Sexy Red has a lot more songs. BET is Black Entertainment Television, and that blackness has generally been not restricted, but like more encompassing of Black American culture, typically. Yes. So I think that that's why people were like, who's this? Like, I agree with you. I do agree with you. This was just why I said it's a little wild to think about Sexy Red being Best New Artist. I think.
You think?
I think there's probably other new artists that would be better for Best New Artist than both of them, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, you might be right. What I do know is that Burna Boy won as well. He won in his category that he was there. And it looks like BET's trying to branch out.
Into the continent.
Out into the rest of the world. So there's been people who won awards that are French speaking and they're going into that realm now.
More global.
Global. Getting people to identify with a lot of things. Now, in saying that, Donald Glover, not to be confused with Danny Glover, which is obviously too old for
Daniel Glover. Not Donald Glover, not to be confused with Danielle Glover.
Daniel. Sure. So you can't really he talks about BET and it's a funny scenario that he comes up with, and not a really funny haha, but he's trying to say that he's trying to be like this is something we need to look into, because how can Black entertainment television not be recognizing Black people? He says he has more Grammys than Will Smith, which is weird because Will Smith's an international superstar. But he has the same amount of Black entertainment television awards as Sam Smith, which is a white man who is, I think, one of the only white men that I know of. Sorry, I can't say this for facts, but I think he's one of the only white men that I know. Oh, maybe Eminem. He might have won as a white man. A BET.
Oh, I think Eminem's got a couple BET awards.
Yeah, so they recognize Sam Smith, and he's like, we got to figure this out. But let me tell you something. All in all, that has to be looked at, and the whole industry has to be looked at, because there are a lot of up-and-coming performing artists that are there, and they are amazing, which goes to this next part where I got to say shout out to Enoch with the Spotlight series that he's doing, where he's profiling Edmonton musicians and actually trying to spread a more international light to some of the great musicians and singers and artists that are here in the city. So check out Enoch's Spotlight series.
Oh, Oh, that's dope. And yeah, also in that same vein, big shout out to Arlo, really be pulling people up by their little
bootstraps.
worse than that. I was gonna say their little pants, like literal people are like,
wedgies.
no, I'm an artist, but I'm not ready yet. And he's like, come over here, write this crap. You're like,
he's doing that to me right now.
I don't want an album.
I feel attacked. I feel attacked.
Do you?
This little rant you just did.
If the gap fits. Anyway, I was gonna say about Donald Glover that BET exists. I feel maybe not so much anymore. It exists to like acknowledge the things that are happening in Black culture specifically, which may usually it predates the larger culture, right? But when I think about BET, I think about BET giving a platform to artists who wouldn't necessarily get a Grammy platform. So when I think about somebody who's won multiple Grammys complaining, it's like I feel like it's white folks being like, how come I don't have a White History Month and you have a Black History Month? It feels a little bit like that to me, even though it's Donald Glover. Like I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but you got Grammys, bro. It was like when Lenny Kravitz was like, I've never been on the cover of Essence. They've never called me. Essence is like, we've been calling you. You do not call us back. And the people who are on the cover of Essence may not get a Vogue front cover. But Lenny's been on Vogue. You know what I mean? It's like...
I get that. I get that.
I also get wanting to be acknowledged by your community.
It's your community. Yeah. And I feel that BET should be at a standard right now that is always reaching higher and higher and higher. Like it should always be like, I just saw somebody talk about the Junos the other day and say they said it counts. And it counts. They said it counts too, which was I think was Ryan Reynolds who said it.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
So when
Deadpool said it actually.
So when you think about Junos, we're like, oh, the Junos.
I call the Junos the Grammys all the time.
But they're literally the Junos. So for us in Canada, they're our version of the Grammys. However, Canadians win Grammys all the time.
Right, without winning Junos. But they're not like, oh, well, the Junos has it. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's what I'm saying.
And I think that's where we need to lift these things to a bigger standard.
I get what you're saying, but hear me out. Is there not a place for being on the level the BET is on and their ability? It's like Double XL. Every year, Double XL has been a hip hop magazine for many, many years. I don't know if they still exist in print. Maybe they do, but they definitely are still an online presence in the hip hop community. Every year, Double XL has a freshman class. And the freshman class, you can know K-Dot's been in the freshman class. Lola Brooke has been in the freshman class. I think Glorilla was last year. It's like usually it's rappers you never heard of. This is their first major cover. This is their first major magazine. So I feel like BET is a place to platform people. You know what I mean? I would love to see BET be like, yeah, like Sukiata was like doing weird stuff on the BET carpet before people were like, who's this person? Who's this Sukiata, right? So I feel like BET is a major thing, but I feel like their job is to pull up rather than shuffle up here. We're like Donald Glover. He's been crazy successful the whole time. Like, I don't think I'm sure there's a point where he's crawling with his fingernails, but since he was quite young, he was executive producing and writing, and he was in these writing rooms.
He's a huge trifecta. Like, he can
sing, absolutely.
He can produce, he can act, and he's a comedian. He's done his own comedy special. Right. I used to listen to him on Jamie Foxx's Foxhole on Sirius Radio or XM Radio. And I used to listen and not know he's Childish Gambino, and he's also doing these concerts as Childish Gambino.
Right.
And I'm like,
people still are like this. Donald Glover and Childish Gambino look the same to me. I don't know why they look so much alike. Are they twins? There's people still who go through that.
There.
So I appreciate Donald Glover, but just as you said, he's been able to not only do those things, but do those things successfully the whole time. Like, you're talking about hearing about him before he busts on Sirius Radio, which is still a major platform. Like, for many comedians are trying to get onto Sirius Radio. So I don't know, my guy, it feels like, you've gotten so much benefit already. So to be looking back to be like, well, why are they giving it to Young Thug and not me? How come Little Yachty has more BT awards than me and I have Grammys? Like, that's what it sounds like to me.
You know how he never said any of these new young artists.
He didn't.
He's definitely talking about people who are in a certain range. And I think you said it first.
Oh, he said where?
Will Smith and Sam Smith. So I think you said it first when you said being recognized by your own community. We understand that.
Yeah,
especially
I get that part.
Especially us. Like, us. That's all I got. Especially us. So here, yeah. So
that's pretty much about it. In other news, just to say this really quickly, because this can kind of be a segue to In Our Ears, the Grammys has disqualified the Cowboy Carter album because they said it's too genre bending. Sorry. It's too genre bending for them. So they said that Beyonce, once again, is not eligible for the Album of the Year award, to which I call,
because the entire album is not
a specific genre.
So they banned the whole album?
They were like, it's not qualified. They disqualified the album. They
disqualified it because
it's not
it literally hits
genre.
all the genres.
Yeah. It's like when Simone Biles was correct. It's like when Simone Biles was like losing points because she was like able to do stuff that nobody else could do. That's
not humanly possible by everybody. Yeah,
crazy, bro.
That's crazy.
Anyway, Beyonce got BET awards. I will tell you that. Beyonce got BET awards.
She got BET upon BET.
She does.
But she also has Grammys upon Grammys.
But she showed up for those BET awards too, even being Beyonce.
That's the thing about Beyonce that I can respect. Does. I can respect that she's always come back home.
No.
And performed the mess on that stage.
I might say she's never left. I say she goes out to work and she comes back at the end of the day. She goes out, she does a Super Bowl, the Las Vegas, a ting, ting, ting.
Beyonce, listen, just hit us up and come on the show, man. Just hit us up and come on the show. We welcome you on the show.
All right. What are you listening to though, for real?
Oh wow. Now let me tell you about listening to. First of all, let's go back to the BET Awards. I listened to the Usher tribute that was done, and
I heard it was
all-star cast that was on there. Starts out with our boy Donald Glover, literally hitting all the notes. Just his timing was off, but he did it so well that I almost think he intended to be off time to put him back on time.
I got you.
It was very interesting how it worked, but I was like, he's off because I know all the words to the song. So I'm singing the song with him, and I'm keeping up with the time, and he's behind me, but he still pauses in time to get back on the beat, which is very talented. Then Keke Palmer jumps on, and she's singing, and then Coco Jones comes on. Then Victoria Monet jumps on, and then there's a last person that jumps on, but I don't know who it is.
You said Keke Palmer.
I said Keke Palmer. There's actually two more people that jump on, but I don't know who the person is. And when I looked at it, I was like, is that Marsha Ambrosia? But it sounded like a guy. So I'm not sure.
Here's my question to you.
I'm not sure.
Is there any R&B men that you didn't see on the stage that you felt like should have been on there?
That should have been on
The tribute. Because a lot of
Tank.
people were
Tank
like,
should have
why you
been on
put all
there.
these women on the stage to do this tribute? Tank? Okay.
I think Tank should have been on there. I think Tank has the ability to respect a person
I
and
feel like
and
Tank
be
could have
there.
been on it.
I think that some of the younger guys like August could have been on there.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Gene Noble, if you guys don't know
Gene
Gene
Noble
Noble,
should
you
have been
could
on
check
there.
him out. Gene Noble has done a lot of vocal composition for Usher. He's done a lot of vocal composition for Chris Brown and a lot of your faves, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
And many times, and Sting. Oh, Jacquees, Darren said.
Yeah.
And even Sting, he was on the road with Sting recently, and even Shaggy, like
I'm,
he.
I'm very sorry, Darren. I'm very sorry. Did you just say Jacquees is
Jacquees.
supposed to be added? Let that man sit
He's got
down as the
range.
king of R&B.
He's got
Let
some
the king of
range.
R&B sit
Jacquees.
down above Jacquees. Ever
Um,
since he said that, I'm like, nah, I'm good. But we could do Lucky Day.
yeah, I was saying about what's his name? Gene Noble. I was just finishing to say that he carries the stage and the tour. If you go tour, you see Usher when Usher's like dancing or whatever.
Hmm.
It's usually him that's singing, and he's usually there with other women. I've never seen him there with other men backing him up. It's usually him and two other girls. Sidebar, did you see Chris Brown dancing on during his show? Like he's like doing all of this dancing. Like
Like
anyway,
on his own show.
his own show on the stage. And the people said Chris Brown dances like Crash Bandicoot when you leave the remote for too long.
He does.
And I can't unsee it now.
He does.
It was all the same moves. I said, "Oh my god!"
He sure does. He
Um,
probably got those moves.
before we go on to the word, though, we don't have Raleigh's reporting this week.
Wait. While you queue up Raleigh's, I still have one more in my ears.
Okay.
SWV just dropped a tiny desk and it was amazing. And listening to SWV now sing some of these songs and then finding out they're going on tour with Total and Escape and all these women that were
It's gonna be
there,
such a mess.
it's gonna be, and they're like, yo, people think we're fighting, but we're actually putting it together and keeping it together. So they actually say that in the tiny desk. So a lot of people are excited to see this show, and it was amazing. The music was great, the remixes were great, everything. So
That sounds great.
sisters with voices,
Yeah, one of
are
my
back
favorites.
again. Check them out on Tiny Desk. They're amazing.
They are of my favorites.
Nice.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go with Raleigh's.
Ready? Happy Canada Day to everybody. I hope you guys had a fantastic rest and celebration. Let's get into it. This Monday, coming up July 8th, will be the last time for the Soca Dance. That was a 4-week session brought to you by Soca Fit. So if you get a chance, make sure you pop on by and dance with her as she closes her 4-week session. Stay tuned to her page on IG. That is Sherelle of Soca Fit for more information on the upcoming events. And of course, you guys can check her out as DJ Jeree as she is booked and busy for the summer. Also, too, Foam Fest tickets are on the rise, so make sure you guys get your tickets right now. Tickets are $35, and of course, right now, YEG Training Fetters is offering the mass bands only premium price of $25, so that is only available to myself. So make sure you message me. That's at Raleigh's Reports on IG. I'll be able to get you your discount on that. And again, that's for all the mass band who participated in Care West. And also, too, we do little special friends and families as well for all of our great supporters of YEG Trinity Fetters. Again, that is a foam fet / paint, powder, and water. Also, too, Island Rave tickets. That is YEG Trinity Fetters and ETR events. They are bringing you the vibes going down for Care West weekend. That is official Care West party going down August 10th. And tickets are on sale on Eventbrite, so make sure you guys get them. Tickets are going great. Also, July 6th, this Saturday, that will be going down on Queen Mary Park. That is the Jerk Festival, so make sure you guys check it out. Queen Mary Park is located on 10844 117th Street, and we will be featuring the likes of Saint Info 100 Band and much, much more. So make sure you guys get your tickets right away. More information, www.yagjerkfestival.ca. Also on July 13th, Sanjay Academy. If you guys seen me, I was practicing right there in the studio for this amazing production brought to you by Sanjay Academy. That is going down at the Arden Theater in the Hardison, Alberta. So make sure you guys go on to their website to find information and tickets in that Sanjay Academy. Also, July 13th is the Western Canada Steel Band Showcase that is brought to you by the amazing Steel Band Orchestra that is Trincan. So July 13th, that is going down to the Northeast River Valley Park. Now, this address, you guys, it might seem off, but it's actually correct. That is 903 153rd Avenue Northwest. So if you guys put it into your, if you can put it into your GPS, you will go directly to there. That is the Northeast River Valley Park, a very, very beautiful location. Tickets are available on Eventbrite, and that starts from 11 a.m. right till ... We'll see how the night goes, so you guys check it out. And again, that's the Western Canada Steel Band Showcase featuring international and local steel bands and soloists. So make sure you guys check it out. Also, a big shout out to the events that happened last weekend. That is 5 Artists, 1 Love. Amazing, amazing art battle. Congratulations to everybody who participated. And of course, La Cadastronal had an amazing event as well, right there at the backyard. So stay tuned for more events and more. I am Raleigh Ports reporting for the Black Multi-Universe, and that's what's up.
That's what's up. Raleigh's back again.
Yeah, I have to say a big congratulations also to Sherelle, aka DJ Jeree, who really rocked that backyard. It was actually the backyard at Bijou. Not the backyard, the other one on 101 or whatever that is. So yeah, she definitely rocked it out. It was amazing back there. So
amazing.
Dope. Okay. I didn't say in my ears, but I'm still listening to Thames, so I don't really have much else to say other than that.
Well.
Megan has a new album coming out. I saw her on, what's that guy's name? Club Shay Shay? Yeah, so Megan has a new album coming out.
I heard he had to apologize to her.
He apologized to her straight out the gates before the interview even started. I think that was probably what he had to do to get the interview.
A prerequisite.
Yeah, he apologized to her straight out the gate. So big up to him. It's hard to apologize to people. It's hard to be, and maybe that will move into the word. It is a-okay to look back at a behavior that you have done, have said, have whatever, and be like, damn, that wasn't my best moment. Hopefully we do those things, because as we grow in life, as we get older in life, it is important that we are able to critically be aware of the things we do and the things we say. I think oftentimes we just think about ourselves like little old me. So we don't realize that the things that we say can be very impactful to the people around us. And so I think it is important, and it is necessary in acknowledging and realizing our own power, to also, in that acknowledgement of our own power, be real about the things that we say and about the things that we do, and be okay with being like, yo, I effed up, like I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done that, and then keep it moving, from there. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I have to say. Don't be afraid to grow. Don't be afraid to grow. Hermit crabs, they get new shells until they die. So if you're afraid of graying, if you're afraid of growing, then it might just be time for you to go.
Wow, that's a great word of the day
Don't
there.
be afraid
to grow.
Yeah. It's all right.
That's fantastic.
That is, I think it's the hardest part of growth, because a lot of times we look back at the things we said or we done, and we either are we want to be like, no, I didn't say or do that. Like denial, we're in denial, but we know in our hearts that we said it. But of course, we'll be like, no, I didn't say it or whatever, because it doesn't feel good. But I think it's okay to be like, I think it's really difficult, but it's really important.
Yeah, a lot of times we take those times that we say something and we might not have meant it in a way that's hurtful.
Yeah.
But it did come across hurtful, so you still have to acknowledge that you said it and how that made the other person feel.
Yeah.
Depending on who it is. So
that's
a hard thing.
Yeah. Is impact valuable or is intent? I think we want to focus on impact versus intent. Like intent is valuable. I get it. Like, you think of yourself as a great person, which is great. We all think of ourselves. We want to think of ourselves as good people. But sometimes as good people, we still do things that are not cool. So don't be afraid to grow. Don't be afraid to be aware of yourself. Don't be afraid to be like, damn, that was messed up of me. Yeah, that's all. That's my word for the day.
That's fantastic. Good word, everybody. Thank you for joining us on today's
Black Multiverse Theory podcast. Thank you, everybody. We will see you again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
A little earlier.
Oh, at our actual time. Thanks, everybody.